Greetings to all you YouTube viewers. Today we're going to be removing a muffler on a 1998 Chevy Blazer, and we're starting with cutting these completely rusted away bolts. As you can see, there was nothing left to grab a hold of, so I'm using my 3-inch right angle cutoff tool to remove the bolts. Also, this flange between the muffler and the converter is 3 bolts that hold it. It's a triangle shape, so this is number 1 of 3 that I'm working on at the present time. Also, this video is going to be this part 1's the removal of the muffler and tailpipe, which is this current video you are watching. And then there's going to be a second part because I bought a universal muffler for it. It does not have the adapter for the flange or anything on it, and I will show how I'm going to reuse the adapter that was on the original muffler and weld it to the new muffler. So if that interests you, that'll be part 2, and then finally part 3 will be putting the muffler back on the vehicle again, all complete. This right angle cutoff tool does not do bad. I bought it at Harbor Freight a couple years ago, but it isn't the fastest cutting either. But it's good for situations like this tight area. Now it's about through. I should be able to put the vice grips on it and get it to break off what's left. At least I hope. And you see, I was wearing a full face shield while I was using that tool under the vehicle, and there is one down. Now we're going to go work on the second bolt and nut. And from this view, you can see the triangle shaped flange if you haven't looked at your own vehicle yet, but at least this particular vehicle does have, again, a triangle flange and 3 bolts that hold it. I own cutting torches, but 1, I know very few people that's watching this video probably own cutting torches, and 2, yes, the cutting torches would be faster to remove these bolts and nuts, but I'd still sooner take a little more time and have a few little sparks flying down hitting me instead of the, again, molten metal from using cutting torches. And now I'm going to try to get the vice grips on it in here and see if I can get the remains to break free. Give it a turn here and back and forth, and I think it's going to go. I hope any second here. It's amazing how a little piece of metal can be so stubborn, but there it broke loose. And now we're going to be working on the third and final bolt at the flange. Without a doubt, this one right here is the most difficult one to access, but I still have enough room, again, this angle cutoff tool to get into it to cut it, but it is a little bit, it's sort of like up towards the top, and you see there's not a whole lot of room between the floor and the flange of the exhaust where it's located on the vehicle. I can see someone had this apart before I did. There's like the orange silicone somebody put at the gasket flange. So I guess, probably once upon a time to replace a muffler or something and didn't seal good, and they put that on, which, well, wasn't my doing. But it's definitely, again, once upon a time. I'm not the first one to be disassembling this, but it's been plenty long enough these bolts are still rusted away. And there is the third bolt taken care of. Now we have to take and then I said earlier about somebody had this part. Well, they did up front with putting that silicone at the flange, but nobody's definitely had this part back here before because it's still the factory weld between the muffler and the tailpipe. And I want to save as much of this because I'm going to be, in my case, reusing this tailpipe. And I'm starting here using the reciprocating saw, but it doesn't work out the best here, I don't think. It wants to keep catching. Absolutely, that's enough, at least for me on that, even though this will take a little longer than what the reciprocating saw wouldn't have wanted to catch. I'll just use what we wore on the bolts and finish cutting it. Yeah, I've had that aggravation with reciprocating saws before. They're all right, but if I would have probably cut it back farther, I know what it did. It hit that upper, like at the back of the muffler where it was sticking out. But again, I want to save as much of this tailpipe as possible. So we'll just do it this way and forget the reciprocating saw. I know in the 30-some odd years that I've been driving and working on cars, I think exhaust is the most repaired system on a car that I've run into. One, where I live, the road's salt, and two, guilty as charged. I don't drive any long distances a lot of times, and when you just take short trips, the moisture don't get out of the muffler properly, and it just lays there, and well, it makes rust from the salt gets from the outside in and the moisture in the exhaust from the inside out. You can't win for losing. On the good news, in about the last 20-some odd years, I've had a lot better tools to work on exhaust. About the first decade I drove, basically my exhaust repair tools for like exhaust removal were mounted to a hacksaw, a hammer, one screwdriver I always used to pry and beat with and pry, and a chisel. But yeah, a few tools makes a large difference on it. It's not near as difficult as when you have a few extra tools about. Well, this is almost through. It looks like it's about ready to go. I'm going to take and just give a twist here on the tailpipe and try to support the muffler, and it's just holding by a thread, but just like that bolt a little earlier in the video. But I am going to have to cut one more time. Still too much holding. And that takes care of that. Now I have to get this for the muffler clamp that goes the whole way around the muffler. I'm going to try spraying it up here and see if this does at least, it looks like we can get the wrenches on it, see if it will turn out or not. And for useless information, the bolt head part of this nut and bolt arrangement is a 15mm, and this side here, the nut, is an 18. And now we're going to take and see if it will turn loose. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on it. If we can get it to turn loose, that's good. If not, we'll take care of it like we did the flange bolts with the cutoff tool, and see what happens here. And as you notice, it's not wanting to turn. I will admit, if you would have probably tried this before the flange bolts when it was still fast to the rest of the exhaust and it wasn't hanging just with this exhaust hanger itself. Might have stood a chance, but I want it to still be holding when we remove those, so I'm going to take and remove the wrenches. So in my case, this isn't going to work, and I'm just going to cut the head of the bolt off with the cutoff tool like we had earlier. Let's step back around here once, and I'll give you a little bit different view on where I'm cutting here. I want to try, I don't know if I'll be reusing it yet or not, but I want to try to salvage this muffler hanger if I do reuse it. Now it might, again, the muffler I bought for this is not a direct factory fit. It's a universal, so I don't know, maybe it won't even be workable. That we'll know during the upcoming videos to come. Without a doubt, I would have preferred the factory fit muffler, but I wanted to fix this one day, and it was all that was in stock at my local parts store, so I just took this, what they had in stock, and we'll make it work. And there the head of that snapped off, and now the remains is stuck. We're just going to take a punch and knock this rest of the bolt out. And, oh, 1 second here. Well, still it's being stubborn. Alright, with the muffler loosened from the flange up front and the tailpipe right out it comes, and that's out of her way. Now I'm just going to take, and again, as in my case, it's good, I'm going to take the tailpipe out of the hanger, but I will need to make an adapter because this aftermarket muffler is shorter than the stock muffler, so I'll have to add a piece. I'm going to take it out of my way and out from under the vehicle to work on it. In theory, these rubber exhaust hangers, sometimes they'll push right off the part of, like I say, those prongs to stick through the rubber hanger, and sometimes they won't. And this one seems like it's being stubborn, but I'm actually not at the tailpipe end. I'm getting it where it hooks up to the frame is coming, slow but sure, and working it back and forth. Again, it seems in good shape. I want to reuse it if I can. Now, a suggestion, if I was not reusing the tailpipe, which I am, you can take the ends where it's sticker at the end where it pushes into those rubber hangers and cut them off, and they'll slide right up. But again, since I'm reusing the tailpipe, I don't want to do that. And there I did finally get it to come off anyhow. And if you notice, it sort of takes a little bit of ingenuity to work it back around the axle of the vehicle. But finally there it comes, and out it is. Alrighty, that concludes the removal video. Thank you for watching.